All right, so this video will focus on 9.1. And the very first thing we're going to do is look at the various expressions here. And I have 2 times 5, which is 10, times 2, right, which is 20. I have 2 times 3, which is 6, times 2, which is 12. And I have 5 times 3, which is 15, times 2, which is 30. When I add this up, I have 50 plus 12 is 62. I'm doing the same thing for all these. You'll notice the pattern is I have my numbers in parentheses right here, and they're all being multiplied by 2, aren't they? And there's a reason for it, and I'll get to that in a moment. But what we want to do first is figure out how do you find the surface area of a prism. And the first thing you have to know about surface area is it just means like wrapping paper, the distance around an object. So I have my three-dimensional shape right here. And what I have is I have this thing here, which is called a net. And basically what I'm doing is opening up this box and unfolding it. So let's put some numbers in here so I know what these mean. So let's just put down a 5, a 2, and a 10. Actually, no, this would be, let's say, this is 5, this is 2. Let's make this one, it looks like it's a little bit wider, doesn't it? So we'll make this one, yeah, we'll say 10, just for the heck of it. Not proportional. So the very first one I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about this box up here. Okay, now realize there's two of them. There's one in the front and there's one in the back, and that's represented by this box here and this box here. And when I look at the areas and I have 5 times 2, I have 10 here. I'm going to write that down here. So I have 5 times 2. And again, we just said that there are 2 of those. Then I'm going to add the next dimension, which would be this right here. So if I look at that, that's 5 times 10. So this is going to be these right here. And that's 50, right? And again, there's 2 of those because there's one this side and one the other side. So I'm going to put down 5 times 10 times 2 because there's 2 of them. And I'll say plus. And now I have my third side, which I haven't even talked about yet, which is this top, right? So I have 1 up here, and there's 1 at the bottom. And this is going to be a 2 by 10. So that means that this is going to be equal to these up here, and that is 20. And this down here is also 20. So again, I did 2 times 10. And I'm multiplying that by 2. Now when I add this up, I'm going to have my 100. And then I'll have, so I have, 50 plus 50 is 100. 20 plus 20 is 40 plus 10 is 50. That's 150 plus 10 is 60. So this equals 160 units squared because it's surface area. Now look here, this is going to be 10 times 2, which is 20. This is 50 times 2, which is 100. And then I have my 20 times 2, which is, or 2 times 10, which is 20. Now notice I didn't multiply by 2 yet. If I add these up, 10 plus 50 is 60, plus 20 is 70, 80. If I have 80 times 2, that also equals 160. So that's why the very first screen that I had looked like this. These are like the dimensions times 2. So we're just getting ready for it. Now there's going to be other shapes that we have. So there's going to be like this one here, where I make it a net, and you can simply go through and start solving each one of these. So 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 5 is 15, 4 times 3 is 12. Now I have this weird shape up here, but it's 4 times 3, which is 12, divided by 2, right? So it equals 6, because a triangle is half. Again, 3 times 4 is 12, divided by 2 is 6. I can add all these up, and I get my answer. Here are some other ones that I have, and I have different dimensions. I just want to find the surface area of each. Now, it makes it a lot easier when you have a drawing to look at because you could start making that net. But the other thing you could start doing is you could take like 4 times 3, and write this down here, 4 times 3. I could then take 4 times 2. And then I have my 3 times 2, right? Those are my 3 different dimensions if you think about it. And so if I look here, I have 12, I have 8, and I have 6. Now remember, there's a total of 6 faces, and I just did this one here is the 8. See, there's 8. This one here is the 12. If you count, there's 12 boxes up here. So I have this face, and then the 6 is this face here. But remember, there's always 2 of those. in a solid closed figured, in this case, rectangular prism. So I look here, I have 26, and I multiply by 2, and I have 52. So this is 52 units squared. I want you to do the same thing for each of these. And what you should start to notice is that the surface area, when the numbers are close together, like 4, 3, and 2, will be much smaller than when they're really spread out. Like here's a 1 and a 24. This is like a long, rectangular, three-dimensional object, something that you put like a projector in or something. That's a terrible box, but you get the idea. And this we have a much larger surface area. So the closer you get to a perfect square, the better the surface area. And that's why a lot of things are actually packaged in like squares or rectangular prisms or square prisms if you can, because for surface area, it's less surface area for the object. So I'd like you to try to figure out each of these. This, again, is the formula that we just looked at before. You have your 2 times this face, 2 times this face, and 2 times this face. And then we make the actual net. The things that are on the top and the bottom are called bases, and the other things are lateral faces, is what they're called. So here's an example. Find the surface area. So pause the video and give it a try. When you look, first you draw the net. Looks like this. Fill in all the various places or different measurements. Here they are. So I have my 3 times 5, my 3 times 6, and then my 5 times 6, which is this one over here. And they're all multiplied by 2 because there's one on each side. And I have 126 square inches as my surface area. I have a few more for you. Give these a try. Here are the answers. So again, the area of this, what we're trying to figure out is we have the area of the bases plus the area of the lateral faces is what we're looking for. So if I look at this one here, I have my area of my bases, which are the top and the bottom. So this one here would be like a 5 by 3, but then I have to divide by 2. So I'm going to write this down. So I'm going to say 5 times 3. And if you think about this, it's 15, right? And I have to divide by 2. Or I could just think the top is 1/2 and the bottom is 1/2. So it's 15 for both of them, right? That's 15 just for this side down here and this one here. Otherwise, it's 7.5 plus 7.5. And now let's figure out this lateral base. So if I look here, this one here is equal to 6 times 4, which is 24. This side here is equal to 6 times 3, which is going to be 18. And then this side over here is 5 times 6, right? So 5 times 6 is 30. And when I add all these up, you'll notice there's not 6 sides here on this one because there's a 3-sided shape. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 is on the back side, right? So only 5 here. When I add these numbers, here's my 18, my 30, my 24. Oh, I made a mistake for my base, didn't I? This should be a 3 by 4, not 3 by 5, because the height times that. So that would be equal to 6. So instead of being 7.5, I made a mistake here. So this would be a 6 and a 6. And when I add up all these numbers, my bad, when I add them all up, I should get 84 altogether. So make sure you don't make the mistake I just made. Can't believe I did that. That it's height times width, not the hypotenuse. So try to find this one. So again, this one is going to be 5 times 12, right? And then that's one of the bases divided by 2. And then I have a bottom one that's exactly the same. I have this 3 by 13. I have a 5 by 3, which is this face right here. And then I have my other one, which is 12 by 3. And here's another one. Here are the measurements. And then finally, the last one here is the surface area of a cube. Now, cubes are easy. I love these because they're all the same measurement. So it's 12 times 12, which is 144, and there's just 6 of them, right? So it'd be 144 times 6, which is going to be 864. Let's just make sure. Let's go. So I'm going to take 12 12 times 12 equals times 6, and that equals 864. Here's the next one. Now notice that there's not a top, right? So what's the surface area? It says here the outside purple traps are coated with glue. Okay, you may make your own trap rectangular prism with an open top and bottom. Okay, so there's no top or bottom. So it's just going to be this. So it'll be like there's only 4 sides, right? So we're just looking for the lateral surface area. So I have my 2 times 10, which is 200. I have my 12 by 20, which is 240. I could add those two together and then multiply by 2. I have 880. And then finally, here's the last one. I just want to figure out which has a greater surface area between these two. So kind of go through the two of them and figure out what you think. And there are your answers. And that is